Alright, so we got the seat pulled back off. We went ahead and moved the go-kart over, got the wheel lugs off camera. Got the seat back cut off. Now we're going to go ahead and wire brush the base to start with. Just kind of clean up all the loose stuff so that we can take this template we made of the bottom of the seat. We're going to measure, lay it up on the platform, drill the holes where they need to be after we mark them. With everything centered and drilled, I will then take a paint removal wheel on my grinder and finish taking this all down bare, smooth across the surface. Hit it with some primer, let the primer dry, and then we'll go ahead and put the seat on. At which point we can then bolt the whole assembly back into the go-kart, and we'll work on getting it jacked up and the wheels off for the next segment. So let's get to it.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of you are wondering why I wire wheeled it or wire brushed it rather than just taking it down bare. That's because I don't want it to rust up in the garage too bad at the moment, and I didn't want to wait for the paint to dry if I primered it now. So we're just going to wire brush to knock the loose stuff off so that I can more easily make my marks on where to drill. At which point, I will go over it with the holes drilled and remove the paint, primer it, and then let it sit and dry. No sense in primering it, having to drill it, sand it all down, paint it again. We'll hit it with the first coat of primer just one time. Eventually, I'll take the rails off and we'll end up sanding the whole thing down and primering it. But for right now, I just wanted to do this so we can get it drilled. we got those drilled, we can go ahead and pull our template off. We'll step up to the next size bit, drill through it again, and just steadily make it larger until it's big enough to fit a 3/8 inch bolt, which is what the seat takes. We will then take a Dremel tool and kind of wallow the hole out lengthwise to give us a little bit of side-to-side adjustment for final tweaking. Alright, so we got the seat in, got this plate cut off the back, I got it set aside. We're going to reuse a piece of that to make a tab coming off this way for the seat belt mount. Got the battery box off, the seat's set in place and it's only hand tight. We haven't decided, but we may rework it a little bit. Let's see. Got 3 of the wheels off. Verified that the hubs will fit. However, this wheel is stuck. We soaked it down with some PB Blaster. We're going to leave it soaked for a day or so. When we come back to film again on Monday, we'll fill you in on any updates on anything that was done off camera. And hopefully that tire will be off. At which point we'll be working on getting a couple of old golf cart rims stripped of their tires, get the new tires on, and getting everything put back together so we can hopefully test ride this. Now my new wiring for the new wiring harness should be here come Monday. So on Monday we'll worry about setting the battery box, starting the wire harness. New throttle and choke cable should be here between Monday and Wednesday. We'll get the new throttle cable run, we'll get the new choke cable, we'll find a mount point for it, get it tacked into place, and run the cable back for it. That way we're not having to get off the cart in order to choke the cotton picket thing. We'll get throttle cable, both should be here between Monday and Wednesday. So we'll get those installed. We're going to be making a custom mount for the push-pull choke on the side of the seat, or maybe off of the frame there. We want to put it someplace where it actually moves with the seat, so that whoever's riding it can choke the engine if they need to. That way you don't have to keep getting off the cart in order to choke the engine. But once we get the choke installed, get the new throttle cable run, we'll be building the new battery box up here. I may reuse part of that plate that we cut off to help make a instrument cluster on the front column here. That way we can have a voltage meter as well as light switches. And then, yeah, all goes well. Within 1 more week, 2 weeks tops, hopefully we'll have this all back together and we'll be able to take it for a test ride or two, verify how she runs. Once we know it runs good, we'll bring it back in the shop, tear it all apart again, including frame, sand it all down, repaint it, make it look nice and pretty, get her put back together, and we'll get her out there for somebody to buy off us and enjoy. So yeah, hit that subscribe and like button, ring that bell for notifications, and stay tuned.